Hey everybody, I am continuing my learning journey by going through the next step here in the quick start for DBT and BigQuery steps. Last time I built my first model. I remember step 8. Now I'm going on to step 9, changing the way your model is materialized. So the idea of materialization um, makes sense if you understand that when you write a select statement that joins two tables together, you get a resulting data set called a view. And the view is basically temporary, right? It's not stored anywhere the way the first table, table A, and the second table, table B, are stored in a physical file system somewhere on a database server. And we write that view, that select statement that joins two things together, and that view is created, and the view is basically temporary. The idea of materialization is, uh, all of the possible scenarios around how that could be implemented, right? So a full materialization would be you end up with a third uh, physical table, right, or somewhere, either in memory or on disk, that that would be fully materialized, right? Um, but then you have the problem of, well, how do I manage updates, right? So this is what materialization is all about. How physical is that result set going to be, and the more cemented it is into the file system, the more difficult it is, or the more complex it is to maintain updates as table A changes or table B changes. So that's what we're dealing with here, changing the way our model is materialized. To do that, we're going to edit dbtproject.yml. YML is a markup language used for configuration tasks. Okay, uh, that's my little preamble to that. So it says I should be able to find a um, uh, DBT project YML. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to rearrange my screens because on this other tab I have DBT Cloud. Okay, so let me just pause this briefly. Okay, I'm back. So I have my instructions on my left. I have DBT Cloud on my right, and I'm going to go into Studio. I'm going to find DBT project YML. I'm guessing that that's going to open up. I just closed that other window out. I'm guessing that's going to open up somewhere here on my right. Oh, there it is. I'm going to make this window a little smaller, and I'm going to give, here's a configuration file that's going to control how my data is materialized. And I suspect a great many other things as well. But there's my name. Configure so that everything will be materialized as a table, and configure example so that everything in it will be materialized as a view. Update your models config. There's the models. Oh, I see. Here it is. So we've got models, Jaffle shop, and as it materialized as a table, an example is materialized as a view. I can probably copy that, bring it over here, and I could either delete this, or just because I'm a big fat coward, I'm going to put these pound signs in front of, or hashtags, if you will, in front of those lines, and that's going to comment those out, and I'm going to paste that. Okay, so I have my just a note to myself, original. and new. And click Save. There's my Save button. Okay. Now we're going to enter the dbt run command, and we're hoping that this customer's model that we defined in the earlier step will be created as a table. Let's find out if that happens. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room here, and I'm going to say dbt run. Enter. And oh, it says the run failed. I wonder why that is. I might need a little bit more of the screen to see what's going on here. Pause. All right, so it says dbt run failed, but I don't know why. I had to bring that window back up here. There's some errors here. Now I have Schaefer test and Schaefer test 2. I don't know why that's a problem. So we have this that we saved. Hmm. All right, I'm going to pause the video again while I think on this. Okay, I went back to the prior step where I created these models, and I'm wondering if perhaps I failed to do dbt run. I'm not sure about that at all, mind you, but oh, I like this one. How can I see that SQL, the SQL that dbt is run? Oh, so there's files here where I can see there's log files where I can see the output. That's helpful. All right. So these are really good questions. Let's see if I can go back to where I was. I have like Schaefer test and Schaefer test 2 from before. I'm not all that worried about those because that was just me horsing around. Let's see. I'm going to, in my file explorer, under example, I have Schaefer. Can I just get rid of that? Okay, I did a right mouse click, and I'm going to get rid of Schaefer test. I'm going to get rid of Schaefer test 2. But it's and my second dbt model, that was me horsing around here. I'm going to get rid of that. But I think it's important that I get customers to run. And I'm wondering if did I put that in the wrong place? I'm not sure, but let's see. So if I come back over here to customers, this is from the earlier step. And I hit dbt run, enter. That succeeded. And let's look at my log files. Okay. So that looks pretty good. And I kind of remember doing that now that you mention it, because I remember seeing these preview links in the earlier video. So I'm thinking that that's not too crazy. Close that and close that. And I don't know what the issue is here. I'm going to close schema YML and back to here. This is where I left off. Okay. So let me try this again. Okay, I got succeeded. That was me deleting some of the junky stuff from before, which was me just horsing around. What do the instructions say now? It says you should get a successful run and see the 3 models. So I'm not sure. So how does DBT choose which schema? Do I create my target schema before running DBT? I don't know where I'm gonna see the 3 models. Let's go back and look over here. Models. Let me pause this briefly. So I jumped over here. This is DBT Cloud. I jumped over to my Google Cloud BigQuery project, and I'm looking for. I'm trying to see if I can see anything created over here. I'm not entirely sure where I'm supposed to look. Oh, there. Okay. So I went up to this search bar. So it materialized the customers table, but I'm not sure why it didn't materialize the other tables. Let me go back to the, so there it is. Customers was definitely created. That's good. Okay. Um, hmm. Hmm. Let's see. And is it, it looks like my first DBT model and customers were what was materialized over here on Google Cloud BigQuery. And the reason I say that, that was created today, this was created today, but the instructions say, so I'm intrigued as to why I do not see orders, customer orders, and final. Let me look at the log file. Hmm. Okay. I'm not sure if that's right or not. I'm going to go in faith believing that it is. And if necessary, I'll come back to this. Back to the quick start. Okay. Delete the models example directory. Okay, I'm going to feel better about that. Because that's, yeah, I've got too much going on here for my newbie brain to process. So let's see if I can't do that. It says I can get rid of just resizing my windows here. It's very difficult for me to dock those with my screen recording software running at the same time. So delete the models example. So that's a right mouse click and delete. Easily done. Easily done. There, I'm feeling better about that already. I'm glad that I kept customers here. Right, that's still here. Delete the example key from our YML file. That was a delete. Models, Jaffle Shop materialized as a table. Save our changes. Now it doesn't say to run it. Maybe that'll be in the next step. Let's see what the next step says. As a best practice in SQL, you should separate logic that cleans up your data from logic that transforms your data, right? You've already started doing this in the existing query by using common table expressions. Okay. So we're going to create like a staging table. I assume that's what STG is short for. Okay. So we're going to make two files, two SQL files to manage customers and orders. This is a directed acyclic graph. All right. So just a graph. Fine. Let's go to models. And we're going to make a new model or a new file in models. And I'm going to call it STG customers. .SQL. And create that. And I'm going to right click here and make a new file and call it STG underscore orders .SQL. Okay. And in my customers file, I'm going to copy this material and paste it in here and hit save. And it looks like, you know, we're not doing any crazy transformations here or data cleanup. We're only getting the columns we want. And you can notice that we're renaming the physical column of ID to be the table name underscore or to be the noun. So if this is customers, so it's customer underscore ID. This is orders. This is order ID. So a little bit of naming cleanup going on there, I guess. Save. And then in customers SQL, okay, we are, let's look at what it was before we just blindly change it in there. So originally, customers was based on the underlying Jaffle shop out on Google BigQuery. So now we're having it based on something that's local to dbt Cloud. So, and by local, of course, remember all the data sits out on Google here. Nothing is truly, no data is truly stored in dbt Cloud. But this is a way for us to I guess this is illustrating how we can have models on top of other models, just like the title says. Right? Okay, so I'm going to grab all of that, and this is going to replace everything that was a Control A, delete. So everything that was in customers.sql is replaced by this cool new thing. I'm going to hit save, and in theory, I should be able to run, and we're going to see what we get there. Because customers depends on staging customers and staging orders to build. dbt builds customers last. Let's see what that is. This time, when you perform a dbt run, separate views and tables were created for staging customers, staging orders, and customers. dbt inferred the order to run these models because customers depends on staging customers and staging orders. dbt builds customers last. I see. Yeah, so I think of what it's saying is I'm going to run this first before I create this. Okay, thanks. Okay, great. Let's see if that works. Give myself a little bit more room here so I can watch this happen. dbt run, and move my little talking head up here. There. Just want to be able to see this. It says it succeeded. Okay. And I can preview data there. I'm just kind of curious now as to what things look like over on the BigQuery side. I'm not entirely sure what I should expect to see out there. But if I were to go from overview to studio, looks like some other material is just customers. Still only looks like one table to me. But maybe I didn't scroll down enough before. I see Jaffle Shop and Stripe are out there. I still don't see orders or final or customer orders out on Google Cloud. And I wonder if those are to exist as views or if they should be materialized here. Let me go look over at my YAML file or YML file. Um, mm, 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 mm. Jaffle Shop is to be materialized, and I see Jaffle Shop is in fact materialized. So I'll take that as a win. I'm not sure if that's totally correct or not, but that's good for now, I think. I'll find out sooner or later if I'm wrong or not. Next. Oh, build models on top of sources. Sources make it possible to name and describe the data loaded into your warehouse by your extract and load tools. By declaring these tables as sources in dbt, you can select from source tables in your models using the curly brackets source function. Okay, so we can use this function here to identify my sources. That could be helpful. Okay, so it says we get to create a new, so imagine, if you would, you have multiple sources, and you don't have to necessarily write any code to say, all my customers came from the customer source and all my warehouse information came from the warehouse source. We can identify the source with this special function called source. It'll probably return a string and tell me what the source was. So I'm getting there. I'm learning. Let's minimize. Let's make a little space here. You can see a log of all the changes we've made over time here. The things I deleted, the things I've created. I'm going to make a little bit more room here. And it says we're going to create a new YML file under models. Okay, I'm going to go under models, going to right mouse click and say new file. And I'm going to call it sources.yml. Declare the sources by cropping the following into the file and click save. Okay, sure. Did I say cropping? I meant to say copying. Let's see what that says. So I'm in sources.yml. Jaffle Shop is my name. I'm going to say not that it changes anything, but that's just I'm making my description more accurate. Okay, hit save. Okay, and it says that our staging customers SQL can change now, and instead of explicitly, wait, is that right? Yeah. We're going to say so I'm guessing source Jaffle Shop will resolve to DBT tutorial Jaffle Shop and then customers. So it's almost like this is building this string. Okay. and save. Staging orders, same thing. Give myself a little room to breathe. Type in dbt run. And it says it worked. It says the results of your dbt run will be exactly the same as the previous step. Your staging customers and staging orders models will still query the same raw data in BigQuery, but by using Source, you can test and document your raw data and also understand the lineage of your sources, like where everything came from. All right, next. I'm wondering how far I am in my progress here. All right. I think that's a good place to stop. That's a good place to stop. So next time, I'm going to come back around to adding tests to our models. So in this video, we changed the way your model is materialized. We did a little cleanup. We saw that we could build models on top of other models, build models on top of sources. And in our next video, I'm going to add tests to your models. I hope this is helpful. Again, I am learning this as you are. I am talking out loud as I'm going through this. Hopefully you understand that this is new material to me too. But by the end of this, I'm hoping that I'll have a better understanding of what DBT can do for me and for an organization. And I hope you get the same understanding yourself. That's all I'm going to say for now. See ya.